You're listening to Sox in the Basement, a production of the Broadcast Basement Limited, where every show is 30 minutes of good and comes from a basement bar on the south side of Chicago. Pull up a stool, pour a cold one, and join us right now for Sox in the Basement. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at soxinthebasement.com. And welcome down to the Sox in the Basement. My name is Chris Lanuti. Pull up a stool at my 9-foot homemade oak bar and pour yourself a cold one. We seem to be coming out of some sort of fog here in Illinois, and it's a good thing. Meanwhile, Major League Baseball writers keep trying to write the exact same story each and every day. Baseball's almost here, and I still don't believe it. Hopefully, it will return. I want it so bad it hurts, but until then, White Sox simulated baseball every game of the 2020 season as it would have been every day since opening day right here on Sox in the Basement, using MLB The Show 20 and brought to you by Cork and Carry at the Park. 33rd in Princeton. They have amazing food and an incredible menu. Grubhub or go direct to corkandcarryatthepark.com. The White Sox go for the series split against the Minnesota Twins. They're 3-3 against them so far, but 1-2 in this 4-game set. At this point in the season, the White Sox have only lost 2 series, 2 games to 1, and they lost 2 in a row to Colorado. Other than that, they have won every other series to date, and they have never lost 2 games in a row. They hope that holds true today after losing their last 2 here following the win on Thursday night. The last game of the set, afternoon baseball, Minnesota, Target Field. Next, here on Sox in the Basement, found everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at soxinthebasement.com. Let's go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Target Field, Game 4 of a 4-game set. And after the White Sox took Game 1, they've lost the last 2. A close one on Friday, but blown out yesterday. 10 games above 500 still, but chasing the 35-18 Minnesota Twins 3.5 back. We're at Target Field for Game 4 this Sunday afternoon. And Big Dick Mountain, Rich Hill, comes out for the start. 10 starts, 4-3 record, an ERA of 7.03, 48 2/3 innings, with a 1.64 whip and 40 strikeouts. Over those 48 2/3, 57 hits. Tim Anderson's hitting .319. He comes up against Rich Hill. The White Sox had their best game of the season against the Twins in a matchup that is exactly the same as this one. It was Cease versus Hill. Cease had a masterful game where he had a shutout through 7, while the White Sox poured it on against Hill. And Anderson sends this down the first base line, 0-1 the count. First pitch at 1:11 as we're underway, and the lefty Hill quickly into the wind. And that one's low and away, a 12-6 curve, 1-1 the count. Sox entered this series 2.5 back and just want to leave here in the same position against these Twins. They took 2 out of 3 from Minnesota earlier on this season. Currently, Minnesota leads this series 2-1. Clear skies, 0 wind, 79 degrees on a beautiful Sunday, the hottest day to date in 2020 here in Minnesota. I'm glad the wind is dead. The last 2 days have been blowing straight out into the tunnel in right field, and the Twins have taken full advantage of their home field advantage and hit several home runs out there. It was a big reason for the win on Friday. Now Anderson lifts this one down the third base line, hooking towards the stands, but it will not get out. Caught by the left fielder. There's one gone here to start off the first inning. Nick Madrigal up in the 2 spot. We saw him have great success with that a few weeks ago. Ricky Renteria opting to put him in the 2 spot today. He's hitting .222 right now with 1 home run and 11 RBIs, a .308 OBP. But over the last 10 to 15 days, he's right around 300. 1 out, top of the first. Mountain, otherwise known as Hill, with the inside fastball, fouled off for strike 1, 0-1 the count. The only regular White Sox starter of note that is not playing today is Yoan Moncada. Struggled in this series and was due a day off. He's the only regular starter, with the exception of Abreu and Encarnacion, who are able to switch between DH and first base to rest their legs a little bit, who had played in every game of this series so far. Madrigal takes 2 balls, 2-1 the count. Hill was frustrated with his performance in Chicago about a month or so ago. Now 12-6 curve hits the upper part of the zone. 2-2. Matthew Ross, the umpire behind the plate, wearing number 66 on his sleeve. I believe this is the first time we've seen him this year. Hill into the wind and the pitch. Outside slider misses 3-2. Count is full with one gone in the top of the first with Abreu on deck. Grandal, who's been hitting second for most of the season, moved into the fourth spot to cover for Moncada. Other than that, pretty much your basic White Sox lineup is Madrigal swings and misses at an outside fastball. Could not get to it. First strikeout of the game from Hill, and there's two gone here in the top of the first. The White Sox have had some sputters in this offense. The last time that they had scored a run, with the exception of the one run they got yesterday in a 9-inning game, was the 5th inning of the game before. So currently, one run over their last 13 innings. And if Abreu and the rest of this order doesn't get one here, it's going to be one run in the last 14 for this team, which is very uncharacteristic of the 2020 White Sox. A low fastball makes it 2-0. Last 7 games for Abreu, he's hitting .308. But he started the month off of May hitting much closer to 300 than his .267 average right now. Yasmani Grandal's hitting .302. He stands on deck. He'll be hitting from the right side today against Hill. An outside fastball misses and Abreu's aboard. So the story of the Sox over the last 2 days, there's been base runners getting on, but they're not doing it in bunches. Now, yesterday, it was always the leadoff guy, it seemed like. 5 innings out of 9, the leadoff guy was on. The game before that, it was always the guy with 2 outs. But they were able to get up 5 runs. 2 outs, top of the first. Grandal takes an inside 12-6 curve for a strike at the knees. 0-1 the count. He's crossed the plate 7 times in the last 7 days. And he lays off another curveball outside, 1-1. Hill, number 44, has had quite a career. One of the veteran pitchers in Major League Baseball who has moved around to multiple teams. Throws a high slider that doesn't hit the zone, 2-1. Sox got to him last time and chased him before the end of the 3rd inning, if I recall. So getting on him early is a big deal, as a 4-seamer's fouled off, and he has an ERA over 7. This is the guy you got to get after in this series. The 2-2 pitch. Swung on and sent back to short. Flipped over to second. The fielder's choice putout ends the inning. Sox get a base runner on, but no hits. And midway through the first, the Twins are coming up for the first time today. Dylan Cease, 10 starts, 4-3, and a 3.84 earned run average. In over 58 2/3 innings, he's given up 58 hits. Add 20 walks to that, that's a 1.33 whip. He also has 57 strikeouts, so he's just under a strikeout an inning. And he has had some really good games. If you said, find me all the 1-run and no-run games through 6 or 7 innings on this team, make a column, count them all up, and tell me who's the guy who's doing that the most. Is this guy on the mound for the White Sox? As a slider outside misses 1-0. Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses in this rotation. Cease has just had the bump in the road every once in a while, and it seems to be when he doesn't work quickly, and it had been whenever he didn't have Grandal. Now, he has Grandal today. The last time out with McCann, though, he had a very good outing, so he's really starting to figure it out, and you have to remember, he only had a half a season last year. This is a young pitcher with a lot of talent who's going to have a very good career. A 4-seamer misses high, and the count is 2-1 quickly to Byron Buxton, hitting .273. He has led off all 4 games for the Twins, one of the few starters that has played in every game of this series. Down the middle, swung on and missed, 2-2. Other games going on this afternoon, the Rays and the Tigers tied up at 1-1 in the first inning in Detroit. The Royals losing to the Rangers in the first inning, 1-0 right now. At home in Kansas City, this one's over the head of Madrigal, who leapt for it. Engel's going to cut it off in right field and get it in the second First man is aboard, and he's got good speed as Buxton gets a base hit. Opposite field. And Jorge Polanco, the shortstop, hitting .333, 8th in the American League, will take a ball in the outside corner. 1-0 the count. He's got 11 home runs and 21 RBIs. And an OPS of 797 as that's a slider down the middle, taken for a strike. 1-1. Good-sized crowd out here today for the finale of this 4-game set. Curveball goes for a strike, 1-2. We've said it a few times this series. The one team that has given the Twins regular trouble this year has been this White Sox team. The Indians have had a hard time with him as he strikes him out looking, and Cease gets a strikeout victim, his first one on a backwards K. Polanco sat down. Luis Arias is hitting .349. That's 4th in the American League. They got a really good team. And the lefty stands in the first pitch inside corner for a strike, 0-1. He's hitting .474 over his last 6 games. There's a reason he's in a 3 spot. He took off on Friday night. The Twins were still able to squeak out a 6-5 victory over the Sox. He's 0-2 now as Cease puts another one on the inside corner. He's yet to swing, and he's 0-2. 1 out, bottom of the first. Buxton's over at first base. He's yet to go. We've seen him get a few stolen bases in this series. That one's fouled off down the third base line. Will reset, 0-2 the count. The pitch on the way. Swung on and chopped to short, flipped to second. Madrigal, the jump throw to first. 6-4 to 3, rack them up. The flags and the flagpoles are just lying silent. The wind is dead today. And there's no score after 1 in Minnesota. Eloy Jimenez is hitting .271. He's been basically sitting in the 270s for the last month or so. 2 home runs in his last 3 games. Both of them solo shots, and he's 0-1 here in the count against Hill. Hill needed 20 pitches in the first inning. He now throws one inside a 4-seamer, 1-1 in at the hips. Now a curveball away, swung on and missed, 1-2 the count. Jimenez takes an inside curveball. It was close, 2-2. White Sox batters have been trying to make the Twins pitchers get deep in their pitch counts, but Jimenez swings at a ball outside. He has dove for a few of them. Second strikeout of the game for Hill. There's one gone here in the top of the second, and Edwin Encarnacion is going to come up with 13 homers and 30 RBI to go with his .255 average. Edwin leads the team in strikeouts and walks, and is one of the top 3 in OPS. Even though the average would suggest that he's having a rough season. Outside pitch misses, 1-0 the count. Speaking of guys with good stats, looking down on the farm, and we looked at it this weekend. In AAA Charlotte, as that's a ball low, Blake Rutherford and Luis Alexander Basabe, 2 outfielders, are off to hot starts. Another guy that looks really good is Andrew Vaughn, now elevated to AA, and in the short amount of time he's been there, he leads in almost every offensive category, although his average is only at .276. The OPS is high, the on-base percentage is high, the slugging is high. He's doing a very good job down there, and the White Sox are hoping he continues to grow. He's been one of those guys that if the White Sox are in it at the end this year, you could see make it all the way through the system and come up in September to help out. Adam Engel, hitting .305, gets a start in right field. Both he and Mazzara, though, have been in the dumps along with Leury Garcia. And that's why it's notable. As Encarnacion leads off of first base after taking the walk, it's notable that you have 2 guys who could potentially come in and play right field, doing very well in AAA right now. Engel strikes out looking. It's early to consider getting rid of a guy and sending him down to the minors. But then again, it's almost June. And if guys keep pressing, they'll be up here by July. 0-1 the count now to Danny Mendick. He's playing third today for Yoan Moncada, batting in the 8th spot. There's 2 outs here in the top of the second with Encarnacion over at first. He pops this one straight back. Mask is off. Catcher has it. Sox go down. So far, Hill has 34 pitches. He's walked 2, but midway through the second, There's still no score. Bottom of the second inning here in Target Field, the simulated season and the simulated game brought to you by Cork and Kerry at the Park. Incredible burgers. They've won awards with them. Then you can also get some hot dogs if you want. Just get some ballpark dogs. They got the fries. They got the cheese curds. They got the pulled pork nachos. They got the wraps. They got the buffalo wings. They got it all. Keep them in your rotation. Keep a Southside tradition going. I think it's the perfect complement to these games. Nelson Cruz hitting .305. Swings and misses at the first strike. 0-1 from Dylan Cease, who only needed 13 pitches in the first inning. Now this one is sky deep out into center field. Luis Robert, the center fielder, underneath it at the track, will make the catch, and that's a long out to start off the bottom of the second inning. The Twins had 5 home runs yesterday. They were killing it. And Dylan Cease and the White Sox pitchers have to stop that right now. We're in for another really rough game. Eddie Rosario is hitting .244. The lefty stands in, the outfielder, waiting for the first pitch, and lifts this one now out into center field as well. Robert goes back and will take it off the wall. He'll send it into second base where Rosario is standing. 2 very deep fly balls in a row off of 2 pitches. One almost gets out. The other one was luckily a little bit towards right center and hits the scoreboard there below the stands. Comes back onto the field of play. It hit the scoreboard over the 403 sign, but luckily the wall is higher there and it doesn't get out. So runner on second, 1 out here in the bottom of the second, and here comes Max Kepler, who's been killing the White Sox, and Don Cooper's going to come out after watching the last 2 pitches and knowing what Kepler has done. 3 home runs in the last 2 games. He was a big difference maker on Friday. He even had a hit on Thursday when he came in as a pinch runner in an extra innings, got on base. And he's been killing the White Sox all weekend long, and he wants to make sure his pitcher and his catcher have a plan. The meeting is over. Kepler, the lefty, up with a runner on second, and 1 out here in the bottom of the second. Cease toes the rubber. He needs to work on the pacing. We've seen him work so much better when he's going quick. The pitch on the way. Ripped down the first baseline, foul into the stands. 5 RBI for Kepler in this series. The next pitch. Swung on and sent down the third baseline, foul. 2 sharp line drives, but not in the field of play. So now he's 0-2, and Cease doesn't have to throw him a strike. He's going to see if he'll try to reach, I think. Throws that one low. He did reach, but he got a piece of it, a slider below the knees. 0-2 the count. You got a runner at second base with a good lead, and Rosario and an inside curveball misses. 1-2. Arizona big early in St. Louis, 7-0. Their game started the same time as ours. The pitch. Swung on and missed a 4-seamer. He went underneath it. It was up at eye level. Second strikeout for Cease, and he sits Kepler down. There's 2 gone and a runner on second with no score in this game. Miguel Sano is a 7-hitter today, hitting .273 with 11 home runs and 46 RBIs. He had a bomb yesterday. He's tied for 6th in the American League in RBI. Takes a ball in the outside corner, 1-0. He's got a runner in scoring position at second right now. Dylan Cease wants to leave there. Now he swings and misses at a 4-seam fastball down the middle. 1-1. He was 2 for 4 with a home run and 2 RBI yesterday here at Target Field. This is the highest we've seen him in the batting order at 7. Twice in the 8th spot, 1 in the 9th spot so far this weekend, which is weird for a guy like him. Now a 2-2 pitch. After a slider, catches the zone. Cease into the line. Swung on and missed. He got him on a changeup down the middle. He took something off. It was in the same zone, same area as an earlier strike, and he confuses Sano. After 2, the Twins have 2 hits, but nobody has any runs. We are in the Family Waterproofing Solutions 3rd inning. Family Waterproofing Solutions wants to present you Luis Robert hitting .212 with 3 home runs on the season. The average has come up in this series. He's had a very nice series against the Twins and is patrolling center field today. And he sends this one down the third base line, just foul. That would have been extra bases. 1 for 4 yesterday with a single. 0-1 in the count right now here, leading off the 3rd inning. Now he sends one down the first base line, hooking just foul. So 2 close ones, but it's 0-2. He has to bear down now against the lefty Hill. Next pitch inside, a curveball he lays off at 1-2 the count. Family Waterproofing Solutions pretty much services everything in northern Illinois, with the exception of a few counties right by the Iowa border. And then they service northwestern Indiana. So they're in the NWI as well. They'll do the estimates over the phone and video feed. They'll give you a fair price. They'll give you financing. They're veteran-owned, female-owned, and family-owned. They got Sox in the Basement deals you should ask about, where you can get up to 20% off in some cases. And now Luis Robert sends this one in the right field for a base hit. First hit of the game for the White Sox, and speed on board to lead off the third inning. Details coming up on Family Waterproofing Solutions, who gives a portion of their proceeds to veterans and first responder organizations here at the end of this half inning. Tim Anderson's up 0 for 1 with a flyout in the first and a pitch out immediately, and Robert isn't going anywhere. The White Sox and Luis Robert have figured out that teams know he is leading all of Major League Baseball in steals, and they expect him to go right away, but he is not going to go automatically. It is not assured. TA can hit. You don't want to run yourself out of an inning. Now a slider outside, 2-0. Anderson has crossed the plate 8 times in his last 10 games. Stands up 2-0, 0 for 1, though in this game. Speed again on first base, the pitch. A strike at the knees, 2-1 the count. Hill checks the runner, looks in. The pitch, there goes Robert. That one's low. Robert's safe. 3-1 the count. Another stolen base for Luis Robert, who is taking Major League Baseball by storm. When he's on, just add a base. At some point, he's going to take it. 3-1 the count. Now a strike in the outside corner on a four-seamer brings the count full. We got a man in scoring position with no outs here in the top of the third. That happened 5 times last night. We couldn't get anybody across. Actually, we got one across. Ground ball over to third, scooped and sent over. That's 1 out. Our base runners have been dying over at second base over the last 24 to 36 hours. Robert leads off a second as Nick Madrigal steps in. And Mads takes a ball low on a 12-6 curve, 1-0. 23 stolen bases so far this year for Robert at a 92% clip. That's how successful he is. This ball is fouled off, 1-1 the count. He has taken third a few times. He may consider it here just to get his team going. As this one's in the dirt, he's not going anywhere. Snap throw actually to second from Avila, who's catching today. Mitch Garver got the day off, and so did Josh Donaldson. So the Sox have 2 of the bigger hitters in this lineup out today. Next offering swung on and missed. Count is even at 2. Madrigal went for one just above the strike zone on the outside corner. Hill goes outside again, but Madrigal holds off. Abreu's on deck. Mad's already 0 for 1 in this game. Hill already up to 50 pitches with 1 out in the top of the third. Robert leads off. Hill checks him. That one's lifted down the first base line, foul. Count remains full. Next pitch sent out in left field. It's going to be a can of corn. Robert is not going to advance. There's 2 gone here in the top of the third inning, and the White Sox continue to struggle getting that runner in from second base with no outs in the inning. Abreu has a walk in the first inning, again hitting .267 on the season. And Robert just trying to work his way home. An outside four-seamer, 1-0 the count. 1-0 count, 2 outs, top of the third. Robert's going. The throw in the outside corner, thrown down. He is safe underneath the throw. Robert takes third, 24th stolen base of the season. He just got there. And that's because the batters just can't advance anybody. 1-1 count to Abreu now. This one goes back up the middle. Base hit, and Robert will come home and score. So Luis Robert gets on, steals second, steals third, and with 2 outs, Abreu sends in the first White Sox run of the game, and only the second run this team has scored in 16 innings. The dry spell has to end if we're going to beat the Twins today, because 1-0 it isn't going to work. Abreu now on first. Here comes Yasmani Grandal, 0 for 1 with a ground out in the first inning, hitting .300 even. An outside curveball hits the corner, 0-1 the count. He's more powerful from the left side. He has a 3-run home run in this series from that side of the plate, but he's no slouch from the right side either. 0-1 the count, the pitch. High four-seamer misses 1-1. He may be the most important free agent signing of the last decade for the Chicago White Sox. He's the reason other free agent signees bought into what the White Sox are doing. And he's a heck of a player. As now the count is even at 2. The 2-2 pitch on the way. Checks it up. Did he go? He did not. An outside four-seamer misses, and Grandal's able to hold off just enough. Count is full with Jimenez on deck, and the payoff pitch from Big Dick Mountain on the way. Swung on and missed a four-seamer at the knees. He couldn't catch up to it. Grandal goes and sits down, but the White Sox get a run in the top of the third, and we head to the bottom of the third leading 1-0. Foundation issues not properly handled can be costly. Family Waterproofing Solutions is owned by Ken, a veteran of the United States Marines, and his wife Maria, making them a veteran-owned business and a female-owned business that will diagnose and repair wet or leaky basements. And while they're located on the Sox side, Family Waterproofing services the entire Chicagoland area and Northwest Indiana. And now, after taking time off to ensure they can do things safely and securely for you, Family Waterproofing is back in business and doing jobs. Plus, part of the proceeds for every job that they do are donated to veteran and first responder organizations who support our frontline defenders. And currently, Sox in the Basement listeners have access to special pricing when they contact Family Waterproofing Solutions now, 708-330-4466, or visit them today at FamilyBasementWaterproofing.com. The Minnesota Twins are first in slugging and home runs and second in runs per game, average, and on-base percentage in all of baseball. Not only in the American League, but all of baseball. They average 6 runs a game, 5.96 to be exact. And that's why you can't settle in and say, well, we got Cease, he's hot, and we got a runner in, and we're winning 1-0. This game is far from over. Marwin Gonzalez is batting 8th today. He's hitting .241. He stands on the left side as a switch hitter, and the first pitch is low for a ball, 1-0. Spent most of his career, his 8-year career with Houston, before coming over here to the Twins. An outside four-seamer catches the zone, 1-1. Curveball low and away, 2-1. Before he signed with the Twins, we here at Sox in the Basement thought he would make a nice addition to this team. Outside four-seamer, 3-1. Not knowing when Nick Madrigal is going to be here, and not happy with what was over at second base, and knowing he was versatile enough that once Mads got here, he would make his way into the lineup a lot, just like Leury Garcia. He looked like a heck of a piece, but the White Sox weren't interested. 3-2 the count now to Gonzalez, as Cease into the line delivers. He misses high and outside and walks him. Cease only needed 26 pitches through the first 2 innings. 6 pitches there, though, and Gonzalez is on, and Alex Avila hitting .160 comes to the plate. He did play earlier in this series. I think it was the first game of the series. He was playing first base. There's a strike inside, 0-1. He went 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts before he was removed late in a 13-inning affair. Now, that said, during that game, we kept saying it over and over again. He's like a pitcher in the National League with that batting average. You got to go after him. Don't let him on. He did get a walk in that game. You can't let him on. 1-1 the count, a runner on first. No outs, bottom of the third. Swing and a miss at a four-seamer, 1-2. Top of the order comes up next. You want to have one out before Buxton comes up, who has found a way to get some good hits at the right times for the Twins. Fouled back in between the legs of Grandal and off the thigh of the home plate umpire. 1-2 the count. The Pirates lead the Giants 3-0 right now in Pittsburgh. Inside pitch swung on and missed a slider well in on the hips. He should never have swung at that one, but instead it's the 4th strikeout for Cease. And the first out here in the bottom of the third. Gonzalez doesn't have a lot of speed over at first. Buxton is very speedy, so he's going to block him a little bit if he gets on. The point, though, is don't let him out at all. It's hitting .277. with an 852 OPS. And the first pitch is bounced in between Madrigal and Abreu, each just missed it. And on the third hop, it's in the right field for a base hit. He has 2 so far in this game, both of them to the same spot. He's just punching it through the infield on opposite side of his plate. And now Polanco takes a ball outside, 1-0 the count. There's 2 on and 1 out in the bottom of the third. Good speed at first, not so good speed at second. An outside pitch misses, 2-0. And this is where the Twins get you. Nickel and dime, and then somebody gets you when you're frustrated. Cease up to 40 pitches now. 1 out in the bottom of the third and 2 on. Grandal sets up right down the middle, but takes that pitch outside, a curveball that is not where he wanted it, 3-0. He looks back into his pitcher and gives him the settle down sign with his hands. You got a good hitter coming up next. Cease, the pitch. Swung on and sent out to the left center field gap, tailing back towards the wall, and it's gone. This team is so good. This offense is incredible. 422 feet, that 3-run home run goes, the 12th for Polanco. Every series we've been in, we sat there and said, oh, this team, their third best home run hitter has got like 6. And we laugh about it because we've got 4 or 5 guys now in double digits. The Twins have like 8. For everything the White Sox have done good this year, the Twins are just a little better. It took 13 innings to get the win on Thursday night, and they came back. A 6-5 loss on Friday. We got blown out yesterday, and now we trail 3-1 with 1 out in the bottom of the third, and Dylan Cease kicked the dirt. Meanwhile, his outfielders didn't even move. And Luis Arraez is 0 for 1 with the ground out in the first inning. He's hitting .347 on the season, and Cease wants that last pitch that was sent up to Polanco back, and a 4-seamer missed outside. He's 2-0 again. But Dylan Cease is struggling. And now timeout is called, and they're going to go out and speak with him. 44 pitches so far now for him. 16 balls, 28 strikes. The thing was, he was so far down in the count, he decided to throw the get-me-over fastball, and Polanco was waiting for it. And he didn't want to let the batter off the hook. He was hoping that he either wouldn't catch up to it or he was taking all the way, and he had the green light. And he just blasted that one out of here. So the meeting is over. Arraez awaits his 2-0 pitch. With nobody on, the Sox trailing by 2 here in the bottom of the third, and outside fastball misses, 3-0 now. Dylan has been so solid for the White Sox, but remember, he's young. And he probably had designs on coming out and shutting this team down, and he just got taught that nobody is impervious to this Minnesota offense. A strike high taken, 3-1 the count now. The game is far from over. We've seen the White Sox hang with this team. But in the end, the White Sox have only scored 5 in the first 2 games apiece and 1 yesterday. The Twins scored 5 in the first game, 6 in the second game, 7 yesterday, and have 3 so far today. Fly ball out to Engel. He catches it. There's 2 gone. And Nelson Cruz comes to the plate. 0 for 1 with a fly out in the second inning. The big right-hander awaits the first pitch. Inside taking a slider, 1-0. Bit of a shift on. In fact, Madrigal is on the shortstop side with second base. He's not even straight up the middle. Now an outside fastball misses, 2-0. 23 pitches in this inning and 13 of them balls for Cease. When you look at his overall count, he was in the zone and he was getting ahead. In the third inning, not so much, and it was the reason for that 3-run home run. You're down 3-0, you're trying to get it across the plate, and the guy was waiting for it. Slider low and in, swung on and missed, 2-1. Falling behind in this inning is the reason he's down 3-1. It's the reason for the home run. Swung on and missed a 4-seamer, 2-2 the count. So Cease trying to battle back here against Cruz and get through this very difficult third. Lifted out in the left field. Jimenez moving across towards center underneath it. Will stop and make the catch in the sun. Polanco pops one out of here into left center field deep on a 3-0 pitch with 2 on. The Twins lead 3-1 going into the top of the fourth. Eloy Jimenez comes up 0 for 1. Hill sits on 61 pitches. That might be good news because we're going to need more runs off him. The first pitch at the top of the fourth is high, a 4-seamer, 1-0. Jimenez got the count full last time up and then reached for one well outside the zone. It would have been ball 4 and struck out. We've seen him do that a few times in this series. And it's actually one of the things he needs to work on overall as a batter. Over anxious with 2 strikes, going for the one outside. Now a short chop to third. He almost beats it, but he's out by a half of a step. Does not get the infield hit, and Encarnacion is up quickly with 1 out in the top of the fourth inning. Hill, the lefty, into the wind, delivers one in at the chin. Encarnacion gets out of the way. 13 home runs, puts him second on the White Sox. He's tied with Jimenez, and 1 behind Grandal, a fastball away, 2-0. But the White Sox power has not really been here this weekend. The Twins have done a very good job as a staff of figuring out what the White Sox were doing in the first 2 games and really deadening it yesterday. And so far only 1 run here as Encarnacion takes this one into right center field. A ground ball. They had a shift on for him, so nobody was at second. And he just rolls through the infield into the outfield, and he's on for the second time today. He's not very quick. The guy at the plate is 0 for 1 is Adam Engel with a strikeout in the second. The door is wide open for this young man to regain the confidence of his manager and I think become the starting right fielder. His Nomar Mazara has not worked out. The problem is his average has been steadily dropping as well. He's at 301, but it's in a platoon roll. Sends this one down the third base line, just foul near the bag, and 0-2 quickly against Hill. Next offering now sent to first, a slow chop. Goes over to second to get Encarnacion. They can't get Engel on the way back, a fielder's choice. Encarnacion leaves the base paths, and Danny Mendick comes up 0 for 1. The 8-hitter watches as they throw over to first base. Engel's back safely. 2 outs here in the top of the fourth inning, and the White Sox are probably going to have to run a little bit more in this game because hits have been few and far between for them lately. A low outside 12-6 curve misses, 1-0 the count. 1-0 count. Hill checks the runner. Engel starts moving. Mendick swings and sends that in the right field into the gap. Engel's on his way over to third base. He goes first to third. Mendick into second. Engel now trying for home. The throw not in time. Hill came over and cut off the throw in and didn't look, assuming Engel was stopping at third. Adam Engel, who's rounding third slowly, sees Hill catch the ball and start talking to his second baseman and continues running and beats the throw home by the time they're able to get Hill's attention. It's 3-2. Mendick's on second base. The hit and run pays off well, and then a smart heads-up play by Engel gets him home. And Luis Roberts 1 for 1 with a single in this game, and he stole 2 bases and eventually scored. He's got Mendick on second with 2 outs here in the top of the fourth, and it's a 1-run ball game. Mendick has speed. A base hit probably scores him and ties this game. The count even at 1 the pitch. Low and inside on a 4-seamer, 2-1. Heads-up play by Engel, who was basically at second base when the ball hits the ground and kind of stuttered step like he tripped over the bag. And I think Hill saw that and figured, well, he's just going to get to third and stop. And he acted like it was pitcher's hand, like it was over, and he was well off the mound near second base, and Engel had come around third, and instead of retreating back, just kept going. He kind of like half speeded, got halfway down the line and then just went. And by the time they yelled at Hill to turn around and throw, he was crossing the plate, well in front of that throw home. Count is full now as Robert fouls one off. 3-2, 2 outs, top of the fourth with Mendick on second, the pitch on the way. It's a strike down the middle. He froze on it. He throws the bat in disgust, but Danny Mendick gets a double, and Engel sneaks home from third. And midway through the fourth is 3-2 Twins. 3-2 Minnesota. Bottom of the fourth inning. Eddie Rosario's got a double in the second inning. He's hitting .249. The average has come up a little bit in this series. He's done very well. The lefty stands in, waiting for Dylan Cease to throw his 53rd pitch to start off the bottom of the fourth, and it's a strike down the middle. 0-1. He scored 4 times in the last 3 games, but a lot of guys on the Twins have been scoring. The White Sox trying to get off of the team slump they kind of ran into ever since the end of the 5th inning in Game 2. They've gotten 2 runs across. The first one was created by a single and 2 stolen bases, and then one that snuck through the infield. This one now sent out into center field. Roberts going to go back, get underneath it, and make the catch before the track. 1 gone. The other run comes from Engel getting on base, and then a hit and run with Mendick, and heads up base running, and a brain fart from Rich Hill. But the White Sox are running today and trying to create runs because the power has disappeared. And the Twins have found a way to keep them down. 1-0 the count. Kepler's up. Again, he's been killing us all season long, and Cease got him the first time up. He's 1-0 now with 1 out. Throws low and inside and misses on a curveball. 2-0. Dylan has been doing a very good job controlling the free passes, but has been falling behind in counts and has walked a few today. A 4-seam fastball swung on and missed on the outside corner. 2-1 to Kepler. Cease now gets a changeup on the inside corner low. 2-2. He has picked up the pace, although he does take a breath here, steps off the mound, and wipes some sweat off his brow. It is close to 80 degrees right now. Cease into the wind, the 2-2 pitch. A line drive right into Jose Abreu's glove, guarding the first base line. Against the lefty. Unassisted 3 putout on a sharp hit directly into his chest. 2 outs, bottom of the fourth. Here's Miguel Sano, who's 0 for 1, and he pops this one back into the crowd. 0-1 the count. Going high and inside to Sano. Now Grandal on one knee sets up inside and low, and it goes over the top of a very low swinging Sano, about waist high. 0-2. Now Grandal sets up on the outside corner. He goes outside, but he doesn't chase a fastball. 1-2 the count. I will say this, Yasmani, when he moves around back there, you see the pitchers get far more competent. He did not do that very much yesterday. This one's lifted into left field, tailing back towards the wall, over the head of Jimenez and off the wall. He's going to scoop it, but it's going to be a stand-up double. He leapt running backwards. It cleared his glove. That's a 2-out double for the Twins. And Sano is on with his 13th 2-bagger of the season, tying Josh Donaldson for second on the team right now. Byron Buxton leads the Twins with 15. I'm telling you, they got a heck of a team. This is the first time we've seen another team where the stats get thrown up there and I go, wow, that's just like the White Sox. That's better than the White Sox. They have a heck of an offense. 4-seamer swung on and missed by Gonzalez, the 8-hitter. 0-1 the count. He's standing in the left-handed batter's box with 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Sano with a lead over at second base. Grandal sitting calmly behind the plate now at the sign, and the pitch comes inside and almost hits Gonzalez. He gets out of the way. 1-1 the count. That was not intended. It just got away from Dylan. He's sitting on 66 pitches with only 2 outs in the bottom of the fourth. The pitch on the way. Swung on and sent out to the left center field gap. Robert on his horse. He will not get there. It gets into the gap, and a run is going to score. He's going to catch up to it and throw it in. That's a double. Cease has given up 4 now through 4 innings. Uncharacteristic of him. But again, like I said, this is one hell of an offense. And if I'm marveling about how good the Twins are, it's because this is the first time I've seen a team do this, not wearing White Sox colors. Even the Angels weren't this good offensively. They had pitching, but their offense was nowhere near this as Alex Avila swings and misses at a pitch, 0 for 1 with a strikeout in the third, and now 0-1 in the count with 2 outs in the bottom of the fourth, and Marwin Gonzalez on second base. It is a 2-run lead again for the Twins. 4-2 in this game as a slider low misses 1-1, and you want to go get Avila right now. You'll get Buxton in the next inning. This will be pitch number 70 for Dylan Cease. Inside pitch lifted down the first base line, foul. 1-2. Everybody is pretty much good in the bullpen, I hear, for the White Sox, including their long relievers and Fulmer and Kopech. Inside slider catches the corner. He strikes him out looking. We're through 4, but the Twins get a big hit and get the run back. The White Sox had just scored in the top of the 4th, and we end the 4th inning trailing 4-2. Tim Anderson will come to the plate. Homer Bailey and Randy Dobnak are warming up. That's been the norm starting in the 5th inning for the Twins. They will go to those 2 long relievers if anybody gets into trouble, and that was the 78th pitch for Hill to kick off the top of the 5th. So both starting pitchers have not been extremely efficient in their pitch count. The 1-0 pitch to Anderson inside misses on a 4-seamer, 2-0, and his job is get on. All right, unless he sees something he can just unleash on. The power has not been there very much so far this season. Inside 12-6, hits the zone. And I don't know if it's because he's focusing more on hitting for average, getting on base, where when he's lower in the lineup, he'll take his shots and try to hit one out. But he's been very effective as a leadoff hitter. Although he's 0 for 2 today, this one sent down the first baseline foul, 2-2 the count. Hill into the wind. Ripped down the third baseline, hooking, just foul. That'd have been a 2-bagger, at least. The Rangers have opened up a 6-1 lead over Kansas City now. As a 12-6 curve hits the outside corner for strike 3, and Anderson didn't even offer at it. He hangs his head in shame as Hill has his 6th strikeout. And there's 1 gone here on the top of the DP3 Tech 5th inning. DP3 Tech partner with Microsoft. Imagine taking your old systems and moving them into a cloud-based service that will allow you to get everything together, use what you've already got existing, and mobily be able to communicate with your entire staff. This work-from-home thing may be a reality, at least in some way, for years to come. DP3 Tech has the solution. Stop using Zoom and your Messenger and everything else. 1 button, get them on. 1 button, share the files. Make your workplace whole again. Details coming up midway through this inning. It's 0-1 to Nick Madrigal, who's 0 for 2. And he takes a strike down the middle on a slider, and now he's 0-2 in the count. Mads performed very well for a couple of days in the 2 spot. Renteria giving him a shot today as he grounds this one over to 3rd, quickly over to 1st, and there's 2 gone. Here in the top of the 5th inning. Top of the order is an offer for the White Sox so far today, and that's not a good thing. Jose Abreu is 1 for 1 with a single and an RBI. He stands in with 2 outs in the top of the 5th inning. Serves up the first pitch over to short. Polanco over to 1st. He took his time and he gets the out. 1-2-3 go the White Sox, top of the order. And midway through the 5th, we're trailing by 2, and we need to find our offense again. New challenges bring new technology. DP3 Tech has partnered with Microsoft to make things easier on you and your business. Imagine being able to get everybody together in a nice, easy, user experience friendly meeting room, and being able to share whatever you want in the room with just 1 click. You can migrate from old legacy on-premises equipment right now to flexible, secure, work-from-home friendly cloud services. Bring your group together faster, better, easier. Find out what DP3 Tech can do for you. Contact their cloud migrations team today, 312-896-2450, or email info@dp3tech.com. Evan Marshall, Michael Kopech, has started tossing in the bullpen as Dylan Cease throws pitch number 72 here to start off the bottom of the 5th inning. His team is trailing 4-2. He gave up a 3-run home run and a gapper last half inning that was able to score a run and make it 4-2. White Sox had a 1-0 lead and have trailed ever since that 3-run home run. He's got the top of the Twins order up with Buxton, who's currently 2-0 in the count. 2 for 2 on the day with 2 singles in the right field. He takes a strike down the middle, 2-1. Into the wind and the kick and the throw. Out in the right field again for another base hit. 3 times he's gone to the same spot in the field. He's going where Cease is pitching it. He's not trying to pull anything. He's just getting himself on, and that's a good leadoff hitter. He's got nothing but speed, and he's finding a way to get on base. The top of their order is doing very well over the last few days. The top of our order has not. It's been a big difference. Polanco comes up 1 for 2. Cease is up to 75 pitches, and the leadoff man is on yet again. Polanco had a big 3-run home run up last time. The lefty hit it into left center field. Buxton's going to go right away, but this one's fouled off. 0-1 the count. Don't know if that's a hit and run or if he was stealing and Polanco just couldn't lay off. Cease checks the runner and goes inside on a slider. 1-1 the count. Cease now goes over to first. Buxton's back in time. They continue to try to hold him on. He's got a couple stolen bases here in this series. The 1-1 pitch on the way to Polanco. High, misses, 2-1, and now you can tell the runner's in Cease's head. And that can happen. You can't worry about the guy at first base unless you intend to throw a pitch out. If you're looking him back, or if you're thrown over there. But once you decide you're going home, go home and make the best pitch possible. No outs, bottom of the fifth, runner on first, the pitch. Check swing, he didn't go around, and they're going to say it was high. Borderline call. 3-1 the count. So Cease struggling here in the bottom of the fifth. He's already given up 4 runs over 4 innings. Now this one lifted out in the left field. Jimenez is going to come in and make a nice play. Buxton will retreat back to first base. He was on the run for that one, coming in and towards the line. He's not a perfect outfielder, but the gaffes that we saw last year are not as prevalent. In fact, I would say Mazzaro is our worst defensive outfielder right now, by far. Roberts our best. And I would even put Leury Garcia maybe below Jimenez, because Jimenez has thrown out several guys trying to advance and has made very solid plays. His only problem is going back to the wall. He seems to lose it a little bit there on the over-the-shoulder catch. Arias fouls off the first one down the third base line. He's 0-1 with Buxton still on first. Sox have been doing a good job keeping him at first base, looking him back, and now fastball high misses. 1-1 the count. 1 out, bottom of the fifth inning. Throw over to first base. He ain't going anywhere. Buxton with only a moderate lead. Back to Arias. Now he's going to go. That one's lifted into right field. Engel's unable to corral it. It's going to sit in front of him on the one hop. And they'll go first and third on a hit and run. So the Twins are like, anything you can do, I can do better. Sox had a hit and run go well for him earlier in this game. The hit and run works out here. Engel almost comes in. He could have dove for it, but he's giving up a run if he doesn't get to it, and he must have thought there's no way he's going to get to that ball. And it would have been a tough play. You only dive when you're sure, or at least confident. Nelson Cruz is up. First pitch outside for a ball. Now the next one outside as well. And Dylan Cease is struggling. Now Don Cooper's going to come out and talk to his young pitcher. Dylan's had a pretty good season so far. He had some hiccups early on, but over the last stretch, far better than worse, and one of our more reliable guys. He also has gone very deep in the games. He's been one of the guys that has gotten you into the 7th or 8th inning. Today, though, he'll be lucky to get through the 5th, and he needs to figure this out right now against Cruz, or I think this might be his last batter he faces, with 2 on and 1 out in the bottom of the 5th inning and a 2-0 count. The pitch. Outside check swing 3-0, and remember, when he was 3-0 last time with 2 on, he tried to get me over, and it got over the wall. 1 out, bottom of the 5th, runners at first and third. The pitch on the way. He misses outside, he walks Cruz. Ricky Renteria is going to let him pitch to Rosario, so he is going to give him somebody else. With 1 out in the bottom of the 5th, he's going to go low with a changeup and miss 1-0. He's trying to induce the ground ball. Maybe the discussion was, don't mess up with Cruz, go after the next guy. Now he goes a slider low, 1-1. So he's trying now to go low in the zone with Rosario, the lefty, with the bases loaded. Now he goes low, a ground ball off the glove of Abreu, and into right field. The runner is going to score. It's 5-2 Minnesota. That was at least going to be 1, and Abreu could have had a shot at getting 2, but he thought about throwing to second base before the ball was in his glove all the way. It was a tough play. He went down to a knee, but he did not corral it. First pitch to Max Kepler now to second. Flip to short and over to first, 4-6-3. They stick with Cease, and Kepler gives him a gift, but not before the Twins load it up and get a run in. And after 5, we're down by 3 again, 5-2. Homer Bailey comes in. The only good news is that when he came in on Thursday night, the White Sox beat him up. He's a big reason why the White Sox ended up winning that game. They had the lead going into the 9th after a 4-run inning against him. They got to him quickly when he appeared. Grandal was part of that. He's on the left side of the plate, but quickly 0-2. Now he fouls off a split finger, and he'll get another pitch. Top of the 6th inning. This is when it happened last time for the Sox against Bailey. When they saw him last, it was in the 6th. They put up 4. That would give them a 1-run lead right now. I just like to have 1 or 2. Let's get back in this game. Swung on and missed. Grandal is down on strikes. It did hit the dirt. They're going to throw down the first as he took off running. There's 1 gone quickly here in the top of the 6th inning, and Eloy Jimenez, who's 0 for 2 with a strikeout in this game, comes to the plate. Bailey into the wind in the pitch. Low and inside, he misses 1-0 the count. Jimenez is 1 for 9 against Bailey with 2 strikeouts, but the 1 was a double. Split finger hits the outside corner, 1-1. Bailey looks confident, especially for a guy who watched this team jump all over him. Pitch coming inside now, swung on and missed. 1-2 the count, a fastball in on the hands, he was underneath it. Homer Bailey has some pretty good accuracy right now. A low and away fastball misses 2-2. 1 out, top of the 6th inning. Swung on and missed a 4-seamer low and away and out of the zone. The knockout pitch for Jimenez is go low and away, or at least get outside and make him reach for it. And until he figures out how to lay off those pitches, Major League Baseball players are on a chain email talking about how that's what you do to get him out. And then when Encarnacion is 1 for 1 with a single in the 4th inning and rips this one behind the third baseman, but grabbed by Polanco, and an acrobatic throw ends the inning. It's the best defensive play he has made all series long, and we've seen some gaffes out there from him. Midway through the 6th, it's 5-2 Twins. Michael Kopech comes out, his 4th appearance, a 2-0 record, 9 innings pitched with a 1.00 earned run average, 13 strikeouts and 2 walks. Lefty's hitting 105 against him, righty's hitting 231, and Kopech had a masterful 4 innings. The 10th, the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th on Thursday night stopped this Twins team from getting any more runs until his team could score 3 and win that game 8-5. And that's the only victory the White Sox have in this series, as they continue to try to go for the split, but they need runs, and they need Kopech to do that. Get Miguel Sano to swing at something ugly. We haven't seen him do that now in a while this series. Kopech had their number, and he gets another opportunity to go out there and try to make some hay against the Twins, as this one now is lifted out in the deep left field. Maybe not so much hay as it clears the wall and it's gone. Sano takes it out 404 feet. The Twins have a cheat code, and that enables them to hit home runs at 110 miles per hour out of this stadium without any wind. The Sox have yet to lose 3 games in a row this season. And I hate to say it, but unless something changes quickly, not only with the pitching, but with the offense, which has disappeared on them over the last couple of games, they are about to lose 3 straight. Marwin Gonzalez, I'm so upset. My vision is blurry, and I've forgotten his name. Flies out into right field for the first out of the inning. On the first pitch, there's 1 gone in the bottom of the 6th inning. This has got to be it for the Sox. You can't give up any more runs in this game if you're going to come back against this Twins team. Not the way your team has been hitting over the last couple days, which is very uncharacteristic. An inside fastball misses high. 1-0 the count to Alex Avila, who, like I said, is the guy you got to go after and get the out from. He's 0 for 2 in this game, and Kopech into the wind of the pitch to Grandal, low, a 99-mile-an-hour fastball below the knees, 2-0 the count. Again, coming into this game, 1 run given up by Kopech over 9 innings. As he makes his way back from injury, starts in the bullpen for the Sox. And even though it's been a rough time in Minnesota, trust me, Ricky Renteria isn't counting what happened in this series like it means more than what these guys have done up to this point. We've run into a buzzsaw, and we better figure it out before they come to town next weekend. 3-1 pitch misses inside. He walked him. So Kopech gives off the leadoff home run, induces a fly out, and then walks Avila. Now Buxton comes up. He's 3 for 3 with 3 singles in the right field. The righty has 2 runs scored and must be feeling uber confident here with a run around and 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. Kopech gets the sign and delivers, and it's high and inside for a ball, 1-0 the count. Next pitch bunted towards second base. Buxton is on as it dies in the grass, and Madrigal's unable to barehand it. I'm going to tell you, I was surprised at the beginning of the season, pleasantly surprised, at how good the White Sox have played. This is a really good team. But you're getting that feeling here, and it's just one series, and it's on the road. But we've run into somebody who might be better. Remember, they have been building for a while, and they're at their peak. This is their window wide open, this Minnesota Twins team. We're just starting to crack it open. And the job this year of this team is to go out and compete, end up over 500, and go for a wild card spot. We have been right on their heels all year, and we have played them close. The first 5 games, to be 3-2 against them, and basically the only blowout was ours. We actually had a big game against them at the rate. Then they blow us out last night. They're up 6-2 here, and it's like somebody on the Twins said, hey, this team actually thinks they're as good as us. And they're able to go into another gear. 2-0 pitch from Kopech. Ripped down the right field line into the jet stream from Polanco. Deep, back, gone. And I understand if you flip off this game at this point, because I wish I could. 386 feet in the right field. Remember, Sox at the Basement's giving you each and every game of this season, and we're going to have 4 in Baltimore coming up next, and I expect to get some wins there, but this White Sox team is just getting beat up by Minnesota now. Close games on Thursday and Friday have turned into blowouts on Saturday and Sunday. And our phenom pitcher gave up 2 home runs in this inning, and he's still not out of it. 4 runs given up by Michael Kopech. There's only 1 out of the bottom of the 6th inning. Arias comes in. Kopech gives up a line drive in the left field. The bullpen's up and going, but he's going to have to pitch for a little bit here, as that is going to be a double. The Twins are all over the Rook. You feel like there was like somebody sat down and said, let's look at some tape of him after he got us on Thursday. And, well, they figured out something in the tape. Evan Marshall and Jace Fry are up right now. Nelson Cruz is at the plate. There's 1 out. There's a runner on second. There's 4 runs in this inning. Here in the bottom of the 6th. The low 4-seamer misses, 1-0 the count. 4 against Baltimore coming up. Unless some miracle happens here, the White Sox will be 9 games over 500. The peak was 12. This one is coming down into Engel's glove for the 2nd out. He's going to hold the runner from going to third. There's 2 gone in the bottom of the 6th inning. Rosario comes up 2 for 3 with a double, a single, and an RBI. And I'm telling you, here's the problem. You got a guy like Rosario today, he's hitting in the 5 spot. He belongs there. But other days, he's hitting in the 7 or the 8. You got a guy like Sano who's hitting in the 8 or the 9. Today he's in the 7. The lineup changes daily, but it doesn't change the potency of the offense. There are so many good players on this team. And one of the reasons why we at Sox in the Basement said, hey, a guy like Marwin Gonzalez would be good, was not because we thought Marwin Gonzalez was going to be a starter. But you need to be good through all 13 offensive players. You can't have 9 good ones and then 4 guys you just kind of like. You got to have 13 that are really good. And the White Sox aren't there yet. It's a changeup, a swung on a miss, 1-2. Now with this 26-man, 13 offense, 13 pitchers, you know, you got a 13-man roster of players in the American League that you got to go find guys that are going to be able to hit. And the guys that don't play every day have to be ready when they come out there like the Twins guys are. Grandal takes a pop-up behind the plate to end the inning. And after 6, it's 9-2 Twins. Adam Engel comes to the plate as Duffy and Guerin warm up in the bullpen. But I don't know why you go to him when you got Homer Bailey out there with a 7-run lead. And the first pitch hits the outside part of the zone for a strike looking. Engel's 0 for 2, and again, this goes to what I'm talking about as he lifts this one in the shallow left field. Coming on, the play will not be made. Off the glove, diving. Engel now trying to get into second base. He's safe underneath the tag. Head first slide. He's got a double, his 5th of the season. I was just about to say, this is a guy, the door is wide open for him. Mazara has not played very well through the first couple of months. We're at Memorial Day weekend. You are what you are, really, at this point, unless you have some track record to suggest otherwise. And whatever they thought they were going to do with Nomar Mazara in the offseason has not worked out. And I don't see any reason with what you're paying him and the fact you can let him go next year to feel any kind of, like, we need to stick with this guy. You know, there doesn't need to be loyalty here. He's a guy who had 4 years as a rookie with all kinds of potential to come up subpar in Texas, which is a hitter's paradise. As Mendick is now 0-1, 1 for 2 on the day, and now swings and misses at an inside pitch, 0-2 in the count, no outs in the top of the 7th. Right field is going to be a spot where the Sox have to find somebody for the rest of the year. Swung on and missed. Mendick down on strikes. We've got a lot of little role players. Danny Mendick's a role player. Adam Engel's a role player. Nomar Mazara at best is a role player. Okay, James McCann has been very good for us, but Yasmani Grandal is going to start. And Luis Robert and Nick Madrigal are still trying to find their way. This is a very good team, a young upstart team, but I think we're watching a team in year 1 of what could eventually be something good. Luis Robert is 1 for 2. He takes a strike on the inside corner, 0-1 in the count with 1 out of the top of the 7th. And that's what 2020 is supposed to be for the White Sox. This one is sent over the head of the right fielder, and now Robert is on his horse along with Engel. Engel's going to come in and score. Robert's in the second base standing. He's got an RBI double, and the only good news out of this entire series has been the emergence of Luis Robert. He has had an incredible series. He started off the series with a 185 batting average. He's just under 220 now. That's how well he's been hitting. He's got multiple RBIs, multiple stolen bases, multiple hits, extra base hits. He's been the shining spot in this order for the White Sox. And it's something that we've been worried about. But you have him and Madrigal trying to figure it out. You don't know what Mendick is really. You should have found that out at the back end of last year. You didn't. You wanted to give Yomer Sanchez at bats even though he wasn't going to be on the team. The strike on the inside corner, 1-1. And anybody who tells me, well, they thought he'd come back. It's like thinking that Michael Jordan was coming back even though they were getting rid of Phil Jackson. He wasn't. 2-1 the count. This one's a line out to short. Robert has to stay. Tim Anderson's had a rough day at the plate. There's 2 gone here in the top of the 7th inning. Here comes Nick Madrigal. Rounded out in the 5th. He's 0 for 3 today. Average has dipped down to 214. There was a point where he was turning it on. You're like, wow, this kid's hitting almost 270 now. And, he's looking really good. He's looking really sharp. Extra base hits. Drawing walks. But he's a rookie, and he's backsliding. Hopefully he doesn't slide too far back. Robert on second base. With 2 outs in the top of the 7th, the pitch. Swung on and sent into right field. Roberts coming around third. He is going to come home and score. The White Sox have scored 2 runs in an inning for the first time since Friday. And they're down by 5. Jose Abreu now comes to the plate against Homer Bailey with 2 outs in the top of the 7th. A home run here would put you back in the game, that's for sure, as a low 4-seamer misses. 1-0 the count. He's hitting 269. He's slugging 508 with an on-base percentage just under 340. We need him to wake up and do a little bit better. His struggles at the plate in the month of May, where he's hitting 250 in the month of May, have been accounted for, or at least covered up by, the amazing month of May of Yasmani Grandal and the really solid month of May of Eloy Jimenez on either side of him. Now this is a base hit up the middle. They are not going first and third. Madrigal holds. But you got 2 on and 2 out here in the top of the 7th inning. And now here comes Grandal. And if there was ever a moment for the White Sox to jump back into this game, it is now. Grandal is more comfortable from the left side of the plate. If Bailey stays in, that's where he's hitting. They are not going to let Bailey stay in. They're going to go get Cody Guerin, who's 3-1 over 11 2/3 innings with a 2.31 ERA. 13 strikeouts to 5 walks, and lefties hit 130 against him, and they know Grandal's going to come up and hit against him. I'm not pulling Grandal here because he's been doing so well this month, but that's why Guerin's in. He pitched a third of an inning the other day, and he got the win. Grandal immediately skies this one deep into center field, but underneath it, at the wall is Buxton. He'll make the catch standing on the track. He gave it a ride on the first pitch, but to no avail. I would have much rather have seen him go for the base knock and add another run on, but he got greedy, and we go to the bottom of the 7th inning, trailing by 5. Max Kepler stands in, and Michael Kopech remains in the game. Sox are going to have him go on pitch when you're trailing by 5, although they have the bullpen working. 1-0 now. He goes high and outside for a strike, 1-1. His job is long relief. He is not a starter, and he has to know how to get over bad innings. Goes inside for ball 2, 2-1 the count. Bottom of the 7th inning. Sox scored 2 last inning, but they're still trailing by 5. Minnesota put on a show right before that, beating up on Michael Kopech. Count is now even 2-2 to Kepler, who's 0 for 3. Fouls this one off down the third base line. He's had a hell of a season, or at least a hell of a series. On his way to what I think is going to be a hell of a season. Inside and low, a slider, 3-2. The count is full. Miguel Sano's on deck. He's hitting .279. There's never a break in this lineup. Power, speed, smart base running. This is a very good offense. Swung on and sent out in the left field, tailing back towards the wall and over the wall for a ground rule double. 7-game hit streak for Kepler. So if the belief was that you were going to let Michael Kopech go out there and do something different, that belief has faded away as Evan Marshall's going to come in now. Kopech's out. He did not come out with the right mindset in the next inning. He immediately gives up a double. Evan Marshall's got 22 innings and the 2.86 earned run average. He's 3-1 in the season with opponents hitting about .238 against him, whether a lefty or a righty. Sano's 2 for 3. A couple of bombs in this series, takes a high 4-seamer, 1-0 the count. Got a home run in this game, a home run in the last game. Also has a double in this game. Got a runner on second who has his own double in Kepler. As the hits keep coming for the Twins and an outside 4-seamer catches his own, 1-1. Sox have any chance of getting back in this game. You can't give up runs after you just scored 2. Even though it still feels like quite the long shot as Sano puts this one down the first base line. Fair ball. Abreu gets it, flips it as he falls into foul territory in his butt to Marshall covering first. They get Sano. The runner advances 90 feet to third. There's one on the bottom of the 7th, and Marwin Gonzalez is up. Evan Marshall looks in and delivers. A strike on the inside corner, a changeup. 0-1 the count. Marshall has been working his way into a role later on in innings, as he has been more reliable than a guy like Kelvin Herrera or Jimmy Cordero, who eventually went down to AAA. And in AAA, his whip in AAA is only a 1.50 at this point. Swung on, jam shot out in the right field. It's going to tail back a little bit. Engel sets up, moving forward in case there's a throw. Runner's going to go home. The throw coming into home. 2 bounces and underneath the tag as it's up the third base line. Just a little bit too much. The runner scores. It's 10-4. So we scored 2. And they got 1 back already. There's 2 gone with nobody on in the bottom of the 7th. Alex Avila to the plate. Takes a changeup at the knees, 0-1. When Kopech had Avila and didn't do the job of getting him out and let him on, that was the first warning bell. Eventually, he scored on a 3-run home run. Now this one's fouled off, 0-2 the count. 0-2 count to Avila. Hitting about $150 here in the bottom of the 7th with 2 out. Sox trail by 6. Unfortunately, they're going to need to find somebody in the bullpen that's just going to get him through this game unless somehow they come back. Swing and a miss. Marshall sits him down. He goes to the dugout. You'll likely see him next inning as the 7th ends with the White Sox chasing 6 and looking at their 3rd straight loss. Eloy Jimenez comes to the plate. Sergio Romo and Tyler Duffy warm up for the Twins, but Cody Guerin remains in there. Jimenez takes a strike down the middle. He's 0 for 3. As the White Sox bats have gone cold, and it's weird to say that. I mean, they had a run yesterday, and they got 4 in this game, but this was going to be a softball series. 23,540 here in attendance for the Twins. And if that's all they're going to bring in a big series like this on the weekend on a beautiful day, they don't deserve all these wins. 1-2 pitch swung on and missed. He sits down. They don't have 2 teams. You don't have a lot of baseball fans here? I don't get it. Got a first-place team here. All I know is the Indians were selling out every day when they were good. I remember the White Sox in 06. That was a tough ticket to get. 1 out in the top of the 8th inning, and Edwin Encarnacion is 1 for 2 with a single and a walk. Edwin immediately sends this one in the right center field. It is tailing back. It is deep. It is to the wall. It is caught as Buxton goes off the wall, leaping into the padding. And we are having just a rough time here against these Twins. Adam Engel's 1 for 3. And again, like I said, the door is open for him to make a right field job into an everyday job. Sends this one out deep in the right field. It is gone. So Engel, 364 feet on the solo shot out of here at 99 miles per hour on the exit velocity. Puts it into the porch in right field, an opposite field home run. And I told you, he's got the door open to become the everyday right fielder. And I think he's on his way there. He is hitting much better than Mazzari, plays a better defense. Is he perfect? No. But for the bottom of the order, with the speed and the defense, and the fact he's hitting over 300 right now, you take him over a guy that's muffed several plays out in right field, has probably cost the White Sox 2 games just with errors so far this year, and is hitting right around 200. And Adam Engel and him, I think, have the same amount of home runs if Engel hasn't passed him by a run. Now, in the home run column, we'll have to take a look at that. Danny Mendick's 2-0. He's 1 for 3 in this game, with 2 outs here in the top of the 8th inning. Twins got a big lead. Since then, it's been a seesaw battle, but the White Sox have been unable to gain a lot of ground. Still trailing by 5 here in the top of the 8th with 2 outs. Pitch on the way. Ripped in the right field. It's a base hit. Luis Robert comes to the plate now. He's having a heck of a series. 2 for 3 in this game. Takes a strike on the inside corner, a slider. There's speed on first base. But he's 0-1 in the count. Mendick with a good lead. I think he's going. There he goes. Swung on and fouled off down the first base line. He'll go back to first base. And 0-2 is Robert. He went for one right in the middle of the zone. Now he swings and misses at a slider away. Goes down on 3 pitches, but Adam Engel puts one out. In this series, I've learned 2 things. Besides the fact the Twins are a very good offense. Adam Engel should be playing right field more. And Luis Robert is coming out of his funk. Byron Buxton comes in. Evan Marshall will continue the inning. Here in the bottom of the 8th, he's 4 for 4. All 4 hits going into right field. Ground ball, a 2-hopper through. One just over the head of Madrigal, and one that landed right in front of a charging Adam Engel. Every one of them have gone a little bit deeper. But he's found his way on, found his way over, and found his way in multiple times today. 2-0 now from Marshall. He swings and misses at a sinker, low and away, 2-1. We got Baltimore for 4 starting in Baltimore tomorrow. They are winners over Toronto 5-2. They're actually getting hot recently. As Buxton bunts a ball directly off of his helmet that goes down the line foul on the first base line. He bunted it into his forehead while he was in the batter's box before he could get out of the box, and it went down the line foul. 3-2 now the count. Into the wind is Marshall. Swung on and sent down the first base line. Snagged by Abreu, who will touch first. Buxton's finally retired for the first time in this game. He goes 4 for 5. And here's Polanco, 2 for 4 with 2 bombs, 6 RBIs. That's right, 2 3-run home runs for Polanco. He accounts for 6 of the Twins' 10 home runs. It's Polanco 6, White Sox 5 in this game right now, and then the rest of the Twins added on 4 more runs. He puts this one up the middle. Madrigal's going to make a nice play and get it over to first base and get him. There's 2 gone. Arraez Now comes to the plate, 2 for 4. The second baseman in the 3-hole, who's having a hell of a season, sends this one down the first baseline foul. 0-1 the count. Twins have found themselves a very good hitter. Next one now foul down the first baseline as well, bouncing past Abreu. 0-2, 2 outs, bottom of the 8th inning. Another one chopped down the first baseline foul, picked up by his first base coach. Count remains 0-2. Evan Marshall trying to complete his second inning of work. Changeup on the outside corner misses, 1-2 the count. Marshall gets him to pop this one over to second base. He'll actually be taken on the one hop by Madrigal, who waited for it to land, then he flips it to first. He almost threw it away. And Jose Abreu goes back to the dugout telling the youngster, take your time on that. You had plenty of it. Meanwhile, Tyler Duffy will take the top of the 9th inning. And the White Sox top of the order will have one more crack at it, trailing by 5 with 3 outs to go. Tim Anderson's 0 for 4. He's had a terrible day today at the plate. You know that's got to frustrate him as the first one is ripped down the first base line. It's a fair ball. It's going back into the corner, and Anderson is on his horse. He heads into second base without a problem. He is safe. Standing there as the ball comes in, and a leadoff double for TA kicks off this inning in just the right way. Need a lot more than that, but it's a good sign for the White Sox. Nick Madrigal now comes to the plate. He's 1 for 4. He got hit the last time up. Takes an outside pitch for a ball, 1-0 the count from Duffy. Duffy's not the normal closer, but it's a 5-run lead. The Twins don't want to use their closer again. He's actually been out there a lot. He did not get used last night. He was out there for the first 2 games. But they're going to try to keep him rested with that 5-run lead, but he's quickly 3-0 to Madrigal. With Abreu on deck, multiple hits in this game, has the average up to 273. Still stuck on 11 home runs. It would be nice to see him get a 12th after Madrigal gets on and make this a game. Strike down the middle, of 4-seamer, get me over, 3-1 the count. Saw Polanco earlier punish Cease for trying to do that. I'd love to see a White Sox batter do that to one of the Minnesota Twins pitchers. 3-2 now as this one's fouled back to the backstop. It was low at the knees, but in the zone. The pitch on the way, and he struck out looking. Madrigal looks incredulously at the umpire. He thought that was a ball. It is not. There's one gone, and here's Abreu with 1 out in the top of the 9th inning. Low inside 4-seam fastball misses, 2-0. Runner on second. Outside fastball misses. That one was in the zone. I'm surprised he got the benefit of the doubt. Down by 5 with 1 out in the 9th on that pitch. Most umpires are like, that's a strike in that case. Now Abreu takes a strike down the middle, 3-1. Not a lot of green lights on 3-0 pitches. It's been frustrating to watch so far this year. Now a slider inside, 3-2 the count. Grandal on deck. We need many more guys to get up, get on, get over, and get in before it even matters. The pitch. High, and he walked him. So 2 on, 1 out here in the top of the 9th inning. A home run would only pull us within 2. Grandal is 0 for 4. Comes in batting lefty. He's finally dropped below 300. He was up there for a couple of weeks. He's hitting 294 now with a 997 OPS. The Twins series has made it rough on him. He did have a solo shot that gave him the lead on Thursday night, but since then, the Twins have pretty much shut down Yasmani. And a knuckle curve on the outside corner goes for a strike 1. He's 0 for 4 in this game. Saying the White Sox hitters are due is an understatement. Everybody's due. Inside swung on and missed, 0-2. He struck out several times today. Has not looked very good at the plate. Now in the dirt, and he swings at something that was nowhere near the zone, and I think Yasmani Grandal, after that at bat, needs a day off. That was brutal. That pitch bounced in, and he swung dead red down the middle like he didn't even look at the pitch, like he was guessing it was coming down the middle. 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning. Jimenez is 0 for 4. He's struck out several times today, and he takes an outside 4-seamer, 1-0 the count. Baltimore for 4. This team's going to need to go out there and get back on track. A split won't be good enough after this one. They got to go out there and try to win that series, and then the Twins come to Chicago right afterwards. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday next weekend. Hopefully the White Sox learn some lessons. Cease will have the Friday game. Gio Gonzalez will have the Saturday game. And the Sunday game will be Reynaldo Lopez if the Sox do nothing to their rotation. 3-1 to count the Jimenez. 2 outs, top of the ninth. Strike down the middle for Seamer. Sox holding off on some very good pitches today. Everybody's trying to be perfect up at the plate, and all it's gotten them is a 10-5 deficit. He swings and misses, and the game is over. The Twins take 3 out of 4 from their division rivals. Rocco Baldelli's going to hug a bunch of guys in the dugout. That manager's happy. The Sox gave the Twins some trouble, winning 2 out of 3 in Chicago earlier on this season and taking the first game here. But then it's been all Twins, really, especially over the last 2 games. The Sox had 5 runs, 1 run, and 5 runs in this series in the first 9 innings, getting 3 more to win it in extras on Thursday night. The Twins, they went 5 runs, 6 runs, 7 runs, and 10 runs. Their offense kept getting better. And Rich Hill gets the win, 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, 2 earned runs. Dylan Cease takes the loss, 5 innings, 9 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, 5 earned runs. Polanco, he beat the White Sox single-handedly, driving in 6 on 2 3-run home runs. He's the player of the game. Adam Engel went 2 for 4 for the White Sox with a double, a home run, an RBI, and 3 runs scored. And I think he's the new right fielder on this team. And Luis Robert woke up in this series 2 for 4 today. He had a very good series. He's got a double in this game with an RBI and 2 runs scored and 2 stolen bases. Jose Abreu goes 2 for 3 with an RBI, and Danny Mendick did very good filling in at third base. He went 2 for 4 with a double and an RBI in place of Yohan Moncada. Unfortunately, though, some of the big thumpers on this team, Grandal and Jimenez especially, and even throw Encarnacion in there because he only had 1 seeing eye single in this game, that hurt the White Sox. Tim Anderson, brutal at the top of the lineup, and Nick Madrigal's falling off a little bit. Dylan Cease and the rest of the staff unable to keep this team inside the ballpark. Reynaldo Lopez was really the only guy who kept them contained in his game night number 1 here. We get on a plane, we head to Baltimore, 4 games, and then these White Sox get back to Chicago and face these Twins where they already took 2 out of 3 from them at home. We're looking for the same kind of results, if not more. We will see you all week long as we have every day since opening day. The podcast for fans, by fans, is Sox in the Basement. It's found everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at soxinthebasement.com. We'll see you tomorrow, folks.
Sox in the basement. Sox in the basement. Sox in the basement.
Sox in the Basement. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always on soxinthebasement.com.